Here's what you missed on Phathead and Cande in the morning. Weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. on My Country 96.1.
My Country 96.1, Phathead, Cande Roth. We're looking at an okay start. 55, mix of sun and clouds, a little bit of rain this afternoon. Thursday, 65, rain most of the day. And as we've been saying all morning, starting Friday for the better part of a week straight, we will be in the high 50s, low 60s, and doesn't look like any if maybe it doesn't look like any rain right now, but, over those 7 days, they're calling for, like, hardly anything, Cande. So.
Looking good. Spring has sprung, no doubt
Gorgeous.
about it.
Absolutely. I'll tell you.
Baseballs. We're into it. We're into spring.
Cande, spring, the flowers blooming, spring is here, everything looking good, and may I say, in the words of the Poltergeist lady in the original Poltergeist movie, as far as my body is concerned, this house is clean, Cande.
Oh, lordy, Lord. Let's hear.
Yes, so big doings yesterday. Went for my colonoscopy, which actually is also an upper endoscopy. I do both because I have acid. I got the acid problem.
It's funny, acid and a colonoscopy.
Yeah. It's amazing how that works out, isn't it?
It really is, yes. It entertains me.
But on a serious note, I get both checked because the esophagus could be a dangerous area, with the acid reflux and stuff. So I've been battling that for years. And, of course, got to see my favorite person on the planet. No disrespect to my family, my parents, my sisters, my wife and my kids. And
wow.
It is my gastro... Wow. Or you, Cande, for that matter.
Wow.
It is my gastroenterologist, who happens to be the chief operating officer with his new promotion of Stony Brook Hospital, Mr. Dr. Buscaglia, of course.
Dr. Buscaglia, he showed up.
Yes,
he showed up.
He was there in full scrubs, ready to go. Just as wide awake as ever. I get the first appointment of my day.
I always like to be the first one in. You know what I mean?
First one in. He's fresh. Had his cup of coffee.
Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm. So let me start with the prep because I was not here yesterday. And I know we joke about it, and we all these things about colonoscopy,
There's
and we
nothing really funny about the prep.
No,
you're going through it.
But I like to walk people through this because I am a big proponent of getting this done at a good age and keep doing it because of my family history of colon cancer. And
right.
I know far too many people, some very close friends who were in their early 40s who passed away from colon cancer.
Oh,
just
that's
terrible.
So scary.
A kid I went to college with, one of Josh's best friends has had major issues. I mean, there's a lot of people, including my mother's father, my mother's brother, and there's just a lot of people who've gone through it. So everyone's like, oh my God, isn't it tough to do? No, it's the day before. The prep, you got to drink all the liquid, you can't eat anything. Ugh. Yeah, but at a certain point, here's the thing. You get so far into the prep and drinking and going to the bathroom that
it doesn't taste good.
No, you mix it with Gatorade, you could hardly tell. You could hardly tell. It's just a matter of downing all that liquid. It's a lot of liquid.
And then, you gotta be really close to the bathroom. There's no playing around.
No, and it's to the point where it becomes like every 3 minutes, every 5 minutes,
Might as well just sit there.
Yeah, in some fashion, that might be the way to go. But at a certain point, when you get really deep into the prep, you don't even care about it anymore. You just become numb to it at a certain point.
You're not hungry, that's for sure.
That's right. You're really not. You get to the point where you're not hungry, and you get past it. Now, I will say, thankfully, my father-in-law a few years ago installed those bidets in our house, Cande.
Bidet.
Oh. What a difference in my life getting a colonoscopy done.
People love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we get to the hospital. Dana, my lovely, beautiful wife, she gets up early, no problem. She's in the car, drives me, takes care of me, all is well. We get to the hospital, go upstairs, and they get me all set. Now, I like to be open and honest about everything, as you know, Candy.
Uh-oh.
They have to put the IV in because once you're laying down on the table, they're going to give you the juice, right?
Right,
So
right.
they put the IV in. I don't do well with blood work. You know that.
I do not do well, and I've had not good experiences, so I'm right there with you.
So they put the IV in the back of my hand, one of the veins in the back of my hand.
Yeah, that's a popular place for me too.
It was a little bit of
It's
blood.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yes,
a little,
yes,
so,
it hurts.
And I started to feel not so great. I asked for a wet towel, so I'm putting a wet towel on my head. I'm doing all that nonsense, right?
Oh,
Then you get 5, 6, 7 different people come to visit you. The
yes.
head anesthesiologist, and then
Yes.
the other anesthesiologist who's actually going to be there doing the procedure, and then a couple like 2 nurses, the head nurse in the operating room there, in the procedure room, and then the nurse that checks you in, and another nurse, and they ask you the same questions because they
Over
want
and
to
over.
quadruple check everything, which is
Right.
good. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I don't mind that.
And then in walks Dr. Buscalia, Candy.
Ah, and the rainbow appears.
Yes, it was like a big giant sun lit above my head. My wife looks at me like I could tell she's looking at me, and I could not stop giggling. There's my man. There he is, Dr. B.
Oh.
And part of this, Candy, is I love greatness, right? And here, this guy, my gastroenterologist, my chief operating officer of Stony Brook, who I congratulated him on his promotion. Candy, he is like the Michael Jordan of gastro, okay?
Did he sign your butt?
I should have had him take a Sharpie, sign my butt, and then I could have tattooed his name on it. Yes, why
You're not
wasn't I
thinking
thinking
clearly?
I know. If I was thinking more clearly, if I had something to eat, maybe I would have thought of that.
Could we get through the procedure now?
Well, the procedure was great. We talk about some stuff. Then I go into the room. He says, I'll see you in the room in a couple minutes. I lay down. We talked about, by the way, he mentioned your name.
What?
Because we talked about, I said, listen, Doc, before you put me out, I'm going to tell you, tomorrow, just so you know, over the years, you've become a character on the show. But tomorrow, you will be a main focus of the show.
Well,
and
where do I come in?
he says, do you still work with Candy? Just like that. Do you still work with Candy? Yes. So your name was mentioned right before I got put out.
I'm so glad about that.
Yep. And big shout out to Harriet. By the way, I wish I knew everyone's name. I just, there's so many people, but I know Harriet is the one that administered the propofol to me, Candy. Big shout out to Harriet, and she did a good job. And then I found out. So I wake up, by the way, clean bill of health, not one polyp, everything's like perfect.
Beautiful.
Come back in 5 years, esophagus, everything,
5
colon,
now?
the whole thing. He says everything looks great. Everything
So you
looks
don't have
great.
to go back for 5 years.
The year that Abigail, the spring that she is going to graduate high school, is the year I need to go back.
Because mine was 4 years.
So I've been doing 4 years, but he says, listen, you are, everything is perfect. He says, there's
You're
nothing.
the best ass I've ever seen.
Yeah. So he says, we discussed a little hiatal hernia in the esophagus, but it's very common. A lot of people have it. Even my mother says, yeah, I know everyone has it. No big deal. And he said, not a big deal. We could discuss it down the road if you want to or not or whatever. Everything looked great. He said, come back. Now, one other thing. So waking up from this anesthesia was a little different than other years.
Really?
I was much more loopy. And it was it took me a while, and I felt like, whoa, like what is going on? Did they too much propofol, whatever? Then I find out that during the procedure, because they did the esophagus as well, during the procedure, I was coughing a lot. Now, no big deal. It wasn't like, oh my God, there was any danger. He goes, it happens. He goes, you were coughing a lot. So what they do to relax the esophagus or relax that area is with the propofol, they administer some ketamine. So
That's horse tranquilizer.
oh yes, I remember. It was never me, but I remember back in my dance music days, Candy, out at the clubs, there was
Yes, I've never understood that.
people that would take what was called Special K, which was something you should never do.
Never.
And so he says, yeah, we administered a little ketamine. Let me tell you something. I woke up much different in the recovery room this year than past years. Yeah, it wasn't that big a deal. Took me like an extra hour to get over it. I was fine. Everything was fine. I went home. I took a nap. It was fun.
All right, come on. What did you eat?
Okay. So I was in no mood to go to the diner. I did not, for the first time ever.
You
I'm like,
little loopy thing, you.
I was a little loopy. I'm like, dang. And she was exhausted. She didn't get much
never
sleep.
want to go in the diner and sit down. Never.
All right,
I want something to take home.
Being that I was loopy a little, and she was, not tired, wanted to go home and nap, we decided we go downstairs, and as we're walking out the elevator, we smell something. There's a cafe right off the elevator, Candy.
How convenient.
So we did a takeout box of eggs, potatoes, and sausage. We got in the car. We shared it. We just had one, so we shared it. Like, I ate very light. We went home, and I fell asleep on the couch, and she fell asleep, and here we are, Candy. Here we are.
What a romantic story.
All right. Now, I know the story went on, but let me end it this way.
Sure did.
I have the greatest doctor in the world, Dr. Buscaglia.
I'll challenge my doctor to your challenge, with your doctor.
Before he got the promotion as Chief Operating Officer of Stony Brook Hospital, I told you how good he was. And then, magically, he gets promoted to this position. You see, I know how to pick him. I know how to pick him.
You know how to pick them. Must we go on?
I could, but I'll stop.
Oh, I know you could.
Anyway, thanks, Dr. B, for another great time. Appreciate it. And I'll see you in a whatever. Maybe I'll come back in 3 or 4 years. Maybe I'll,
Doctor, I can't stay away for 5 years. Can't
it's
you
a long
me
time.
Something sooner?
It's a long time. But
wow.
And public service announcement. If you're scared of a colonoscopy, I hope I calmed you down, because it's really nothing.
Well, we all fell asleep during the story. If that's what you're talking about.
And away we go. Candy, we're less than 20 minutes to your bald and the beautiful entertainment, everything from Nashville to Hollywood. We're looking at a good start, 55, maybe some rain later. Tomorrow could be mid-60s, more rain, and then starting Friday, we got a string of sun and weather that look great for about a week. Let's hit the roads. My Country 96.1.
Phathead and Cande in the morning, weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. on My Country 96.1.